Okay,
Thank you for the offer.
No problem. Yeah.
we're gonna give this the whirl here. I call this meeting of the Wapaga County Planning and Zoning Committee to order. This meeting and all other meetings of this committee are open to the public. Proper notice has been posted and given to the media in accordance with Wisconsin statutes so that the citizenry may be aware of the time, place, and agenda of the meeting. This meeting will be broadcast for remote access on a live stream on YouTube at the address published. This meeting may inadvertently cause a quorum of other county committees or the county board of supervisors. No business decisions of any other committee or the board of supervisors will be conducted at this meeting. Roll call shows all committee members are here. Have you had a chance to look at the agenda? Moved by Supervisor Ertl, seconded by Supervisor Fedorowicz to approve the agenda as published. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Then there's the minutes from April 3rd.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Supervisor Wangelski, seconded by Supervisor Hardy to approve the minutes from April 3rd. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. This time we open the floor to public comment. No action will be taken. If you're on the agenda, you'll have your turn. So this is just public comment. Any public comment? Any public comment? Third call, any public comment? Any supervisor reports? Well, then I guess we're ready to get the road running here.
The planning and zoning committee meeting and public hearings to be considered today, Thursday, May 1st, 2025, are open to the public. Anyone present may speak, provided they stand up and identify themselves and have filled out a notice of public appearance sheet, which are located in the box by the entrance door. Anyone attending by phone or Zoom meeting may speak, provided they identify themselves by name and address before doing so. We're recording these proceedings, so it's important that you state your name and address before addressing the committee. We request that you do not interfere with or interject comments while another person has the floor. The chair will permit adequate time for anyone wishing to speak and may compel the attendance of the witnesses. Following hearings have been published as Class 1 and Class 2 notices in accordance with Chapter 985 of the Wisconsin statutes and will be heard by this committee. Number 1, comprehensive plan amendments within the towns of Bear Creek, Farmington, Larrabee, Lebanon, Lynn, Little Wolf, Matson, Scandinavia, St. Lawrence, and Union. 2, comprehensive plan amendment within the town of Helvetia. 3, Heather M. Krieger. County Zoning Committee is the delegate unit of the county board by ordinance to consider zoning ordinance amendments and decide conditional uses. The zoning committee is interested in hearing all pertinent evidence. Witnesses in favor of the application be called first, those opposed second, and then others. After each witness has appeared, he or she may be questioned by the committee. Persons present who are not appearing as witnesses will be allowed to propose relevant questions to be put to the committee. However, the chair reserves the right to rule on relevancy, and no member of the audience will be allowed to give testimony without first being sworn. Because of a record of this hearing is being recorded, it is imperative that each witness or speaker identify themselves and their interest in the subject matter of this hearing before speaking. Please speak in the direction of the reporter on the presentation table. Time limit on the presentations may be imposed. I do request that you avoid repetition and limit your remarks to the subject matter being considered. Neither the committee nor your neighbors will benefit from hearing statements that repeat opinions, which have already been expressed or that relate to matters other than the case before the committee. Personal attacks or abusive testimony or gross hearsay, rumor, or gossip will be ruled out of order by the chair, subject to immediate appeal to the majority of the committee. With that, we will call this first public hearing to order. Purpose of this hearing is to take testimony regarding the application for the proposed amendments to the comprehensive plan preferred land use map are within the towns of Bear Creek, Farmington, Larrabee, Lebanon, Lynn, Little Wolf, Matson, Scandinavia, St. Lawrence, and Union to amend the farmland preservation plan as part of the state required 10-year farmland preservation plan update and adopted as part of the comprehensive plan. Will the secretary now please read the names of persons notified of this hearing?
All town chairs, clerks, and supervisors. Brian Haas, County Conservationist, Wapaka County Non-Metallic Mining Operator, and Wapaka County Corporation Council.
I hereby direct a copy of the affidavit to be filed as part of the record of these proceedings. The committee will now hear the application for the comprehensive plan amendments within the towns of Bear Creek, Farmington, Larrabee, Lebanon, Lynn, Little Wolf, Matson, Scandinavia, State Forest, and Union. Will the Planning and Zoning Office now please present the application?
Absolutely. So this is the big 10-year update for the farm preservation plan. So just very quick review. So statute requires that every 10 years, the farm preservation plan has to go through a recertification process. And so we were up against that. Well, that was last year that we were working on this, and it's spilled over into this year. But our existing farm preservation plan was set to expire at the end of last year. And so we applied for it and did receive an extension to that from DADCAP. But so in terms of the process that was taking to go through this 10-year update, so Brian and I went to all the towns that participate in farm preservation, and we went through an informational meeting where we allowed, had questions and answers, and it was really more about letting the towns know what was changed, if anything, when it comes to farm preservation from when it was previously 10 years ago and what it is now in terms of the law and statute or administrative code or things along those lines. And to that end, there really was no changes made. There were made no changes to statute. To Chapter 91 is the statute that governs farm preservation. There was no changes to that. The only change that was made, that they did increase the amount of monies that is available per acre as a tax credit associated with farm preservation. But yeah, beyond that, there really wasn't anything too big in terms of, and there's nothing in terms of how we handle our farm preservation as well. And in terms of planning and zoning, our regulations or our policies associated with farm preservation remained unchanged from when we had first gone through this initially. From there, it was really up to the towns to determine how they wanted to move forward with their individual update. And so some towns, they wanted to reach out to all the property owners, everybody who is participating, and ask them, are you still interested? Some of them were interested in only reaching out to people who are, some of them were over 4 or 5 acres or 10 acres. So they would send out 2 different letters in different towns saying, hey, this is your opportunity to come into farm preservation. And the opposite, of course, is also true. This is your opportunity to come out of farm preservation. This is basically your one-time opening where you can get in or out for free, essentially. And so each town took a bit of a different tack. Some just handled it through just one quick meeting at the plan commission and then their town board. Others took a much more lengthy process where they brought in people from the towns and asking them what they were interested in. And so some towns, they made a lot of changes. Other towns, there was no changes whatsoever. They just kept it status quo. And so what we have is a series of maps that was handled through the Land and Water. And so those maps right now reflect all those changes that have been made from each individual town. What I would say, though, is that, and this is a bit different than what we've ever done before, is we told these towns that even after your town board has made the final determination related to who's coming in or who's coming out, we're keeping the door open, because just in case somebody were to come out of the woodwork afterwards and say, hey, I want to come in, I want to come out, we're allowing them to do that. So what we're allowing for is to make this committee be able to make changes to the town comprehensive plan. And so that's one thing to think about too, is that this farm preservation resides within the comprehensive plan. And so this is something we don't ever typically do this, because the town's comprehensive plan is their own. the counties is our own. And so the Planning and Zoning Committee has never really made any changes to the town's comprehensive plan. This is a bit of a departure from that because we're allowing the town, through town approval, through the town that has given the authorization for this, to allow for the committee to allow for those changes to that would then be reflected back to the town. And we do have a handful of parcels that do fall into that. There were some parcels that were given to us after the town has already met. And so I have the emails of all the different parcels and parcel numbers of all the people who are interested in coming into farm preservation, coming out of farm preservation, just so you're aware that there's what was adopted at the town level is different than what's going to be presented, or I should say, what would potentially be approved by this committee is different than what was that the town has approved. It's a departure from what we normally do. And I would say that because in the end, this goes to the full county board. And so what we were telling the towns was that we technically can do this up until we get to the county board. I mean, I wanted it to be done here because it's just cleaner. But just so you're aware, so if and when this doesn't go in front of county board and I'm presenting on these changes, there very well might be even additional changes beyond what we're talking about in this committee meeting right now. I would say that the majority of the properties that were coming out to farm preservation made sense. And I would say also, just in terms of how the farm preservation has been operating in the last 10 years, the properties that have come out of farm preservation all were properties that made sense to be out, and so I would say that in large part, the program itself has worked from a planning and zoning standpoint. The whole idea of farm preservation to begin with was it's a voluntary program. Before, it used to be long-term, there's contracts associated with it. That is now gone. Now it's a voluntary thing. So every year you make a decision as to whether or not you want to participate. And so we've had people come out of farm preservation in the past 10 years, and we've had some people I don't know that we've had too many coming into farm preservation that I can recall off the top of my head, but I know we've had people come out. And it's worked in that sense because they've gone through the process, they've gone out, and so the towns were, they went through the town process. There's statutory requirements associated with getting properties taken out of farm preservation. And it's all gone the way it's supposed to work. The properties that were taken out were high value properties or farming.
Towns wanted to come in.
No, we didn't have any. Yeah, there wasn't any towns that were interested in coming on. We did get, so the town of DuPont is one of those towns that kind of, they have their town zoning, but they've been kind of vacillating back and forth between wanting to be in farm preservation and not wanting to be in farm preservation. And so I had a conversation with Dennis when he was chair, and he voiced some support for it. He seemed like he was interested, but then he never got back to me or never followed up with me in terms of, Brian and I have been out to the town of DuPont now a handful of times, and we give the same pitch, and it just it doesn't really ever go anywhere. But yeah, we haven't had any other towns. So the west side of Waiawega was one that we've been thinking about. The Highway 10, essentially Highway 10 West in the town of Waiawega. But yeah, there's really no other towns. The town of Dayton talked about it, but again, it didn't really move forward. Yeah, I mean, so this is for instance, so like in the town of Lind, we have 3 parcels that are coming in to farm preservation and 2 parcels that are coming out. The parcels that are coming in are fairly large size, and they make sense in terms of they're currently being farmed, and so we have a handful in the town of Little Wolf that are coming out again, which are making sense. One is a farm that they just decided that they'll never pursue the tax credits anyway. So from their standpoint, it didn't make any sense to be within the farm preservation. And to be clear, the way we were presenting this to these towns is we gave them the ability, if you want to come out, it's up to you.
At least Little Wolf and one other township had one, but they were proposing to do something that they so they were just able to do it for free instead of.
Yep.
So this is always a moving target anyway with the comprehensive plan. It's not anything that's, we make changes to them every once in a while. So it's just kind of a once every 10-year update where you can do it without the cost. So, yeah. Okay. Any other questions from the committee? If not, there's no other questions. Got here that I'm supposed to ask for testimony. So this is a little different one, but it looks follow. Okay.
Yeah.
Any testimony in favor of this application? Any testimony in favor of this application? Third call, any testimony in favor of this application? Any testimony in opposition to this application? Any testimony in opposition to this application? Third call, any testimony in opposition to this application? Any testimony? Are there any letters?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have an email from Jackie Byer, clerk of town for Town of Little Wolf. She states, "Good morning. I'm not able to make this morning's hearing, so please read the following into the record for comments. The Town of Little Wolf is in support of the amendment to the Farmland Preservation Ordinance Amendment with the changes our landowners have asked to have considered. We are and will always be in support of a comprehensive plan that allows for the landowners' rights to be a top priority. Thank you for the work you have done to make this happen." I'm Jackie Byer.
Any other questions from the committee? Well, if not, we'd be in order to have a motion on this comp plan amendments. Yes.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
I would make sure, just to clarify, just to make sure that the motion is clear, because I would want to make sure that the motion is showing that we're approving with, exactly, with revisions and potential revisions. There you go.
Moved by Supervisor Pettway, seconded by Supervisor Hardy to approve the comp plan amendments with the changes made.
Yep.
As in the packet.
It's with the packet, yep, yep.
So roll call vote. Pettway. Hardy.
Yes.
Wingalski.
Yes.
Erdl. Yes. Nygaard, yes. Motion carries. Is there a motion to close the hearing? Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you. Moved by Supervisor Erdl, seconded by Supervisor Wingalski to close the hearing. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries.
With that, we will call the second public hearing to order. The purpose of this hearing is to take testimony regarding the application for a comprehensive plan amendment. The proposed amendment to the comprehensive plan preferred land use map is within the town of Helvetia. To amend the preferred land use category on part of the parcel located on the southwest border of the northwest border of section 11, lying along Miller Road, fire number E4123, Waupaca County, Wisconsin. Part of parcel 08-11-23-2 from Forest Street to residential to accommodate a proposed parcel split. Will the secretary now please read the names of the persons notified of the hearing?
Jeffrey Opper, Town Chair. Douglas Hines, Town Clerk. Justin Hintz, Town Supervisor. Michael Grassel, Town Supervisor. Dick Rowan, District Supervisor. Heather M. Krieger, Owner. Al Rise, Agent. Department of Natural Resources, Dale Rezabeck. U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Kyle Zabung. Waupaca County Non-Metallic Mining Operators. Waupaca County Corporation Council. Beverly J. Krieger. David P. Quick et al. John A. Rise. John A. Rise et al. John G. Rise and Jenny M. Rise. John G. Rise Sr. and Genevieve M. Rise. Robert P. Quick. William E. Prostu.
I hereby direct a copy of this affidavit to be filed as part of the record of these proceedings. Committee will now hear the application for the comprehensive plan amendment within the town of Helvetia. Will the planning and zoning office please present the application?
Well, thank you very much. So as Chairman Nygaard alluded to at the last one, we do often take a look at a comprehensive plan and what we're doing and amending things to suit people's needs where it makes sense for it. So in this particular case, we're also going to see a zone map amendment. The next hearing that we have is going to be closely related to this one. This one specifically, and I apologize that we don't have a projector working, but I'm gonna hold up our map that we have here. The green indicates that the parcel is owned with private recreation and forestry. So in the town of Helvetia, the PBRF district has a minimum lot size of 10 acres. So they're proposing to reduce the size, and I'm gonna switch it up a little bit and show you the certified survey map here. They're proposing to reduce the size of this parcel down to 1 acre. So it's went from a 10-acre parcel, I think it's 10 acres, down to 1 acre parcel, but then combining the remnant parcel with the adjacent parcel. So to do that, we need to amend the comprehensive plan for land use designation from private recreation and forestry, or forestry in this particular case, to residential, because the residential zoning district allows for a minimum lot size of 1 acre, which is what we're.
Okay. So, seems pretty straightforward. We're just, trying to make some adjustments here. Does the agent, or is anybody here from,
Yeah.
okay,
I'm the agent.
okay, I'll swear you in.
Yeah, so you own the land around that. My
Now,
father,
if we
John.
can have you just stand up and raise your hand, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And out to please.
Sure, sorry, my hair's messing with.
Swear the testimony you're about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Have a seat, state your name and address, and,
Yeah, so my name is Dale Ryan. I live on the backside of our property, a large family block there. Heather Krieger is one of my good friends, and I want to basically add on to our farmland down there. She has a 40-acre parcel right next to ours. And in order to take use of all the agricultural programs and everything, her land was set up in 2 parcels within a 40. And in order for me to do the agricultural stuff, take use of the field that is around her house, I had to have Kyle Fisher come out and resurvey the whole 40 to basically say destroy the lines. I don't know if that's the appropriate word to use. But basically to put it back to a 40-acre parcel, and then I had to survey around her house to convey away the 1 acre, which will then be residential where she will reside and live, to be able to put everything back to 1 parcel. So all I'm trying to do is basically add on to our farmland down there so that I can go through and farm it, to try and get myself started.
yeah, any questions from the committee?
And then just for the committee's edification too, there is a development right on the parcel that they're combining with this one, so the whole parcel, the remnant parcel, will also have a development that should come at once.
I didn't see the survey, but I know, when I drove down there yesterday, I noticed that road dead ends right down there.
Actually, when you drove in where the pavement ends, that's where the road ends. So we own the gravel where you drove on. That is actually our land.
But I assume with the survey and everything, that there's a legal right to get to the road.
Yeah, the survey has a recorded easement,
Okay.
24.75 feet
That
wide.
answers my question.
Yeah, we own the easement of both sides.
I don't want anybody sitting there all
No, that's right.
Yeah, yeah, you aren't the only ones back there either, there's a couple other ones too, the way it looks, yeah. Yeah.
Most of you guys.
Yeah, okay, as long as you got access and, nobody's landlocked. Okay, any other questions from the committee? Okay, any other testimony? Any further testimony in favor of this application? Any testimony in favor of this application? Third call, any testimony in favor of this application? Any testimony in opposition to this application? Any testimony in opposition to this application? Third call, any testimony in opposition? Any testimony? Are there any letters?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have the town recommendation form for the Heather Krieger property identified as part parcel 081123-2. It states, is the proposal consistent with the preferred land use map as found in the town comprehensive plan? It is checked as yes. Is the proposal consistent with the town goals, objectives, and development strategies as found in the town comprehensive plan? Also checked as yes. Town Plan Commission recommended approval signed by Gary Prill on March 4th, 2025. Town Board also recommended approval on that same date signed by Jeff Opper and Douglas Hine. And I also have, I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. I also have the corresponding paperwork from the township.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from the committee? Now we'd be in order to have a motion on this comp plan amendment. Thank you. Moved by Supervisor Hardy. seconded by Supervisor Wangelski. Roll call vote. Fedorowicz.
Yes.
Hardy.
Yes.
Wangelski.
Yes.
Ertl.
Yes.
Nygaard, yes, motion carries. Is there a motion to close the hearing? Thank you. Is there a second? Second. By Supervisor Ertl, seconded by Supervisor Hardy to close the hearing. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
With that, we will call the third public hearing to order. The purpose of this hearing is to take testimony regarding the application for Heather M. Krieger located in part of the southwest quarter of the northwest quarter of section 11, lying along Miller Road, fire number E4123, town of Helvetia, Waupaca County, Wisconsin, part of parcel 08-11-23-2, or petition for a zone map amendment from the private recreation and forestry district to the rural residential district on approximately 1 acre to accommodate a proposed parcel split. Just as the same individuals were notified, so Becky can save her voice, okay. So anyway, I'm supposed to read, I guess, here. So the same affidavit will be filed as part of these proceedings. The committee has conducted an on-site inspection of this property. The committee will now hear the application for Heather M. Krieger. Will that applicant, please come forward. I guess you've been sworn in once, so.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Basically the same story.
Okay, so, any other questions? Okay, any further testimony in favor of this application? Any testimony in favor of this application? Third call, any testimony in favor of this application? Any testimony in opposition to this application? Any testimony in opposition to this application? Third call, any testimony in opposition? Any testimony? Are there any letters?
Yes, I have the town recommendation form for the Heather Krieger property, again identified as part parcel 08-11-23-2 with a current zoning district of private recreation and forestry PBRF and a proposed zoning district of rural residential RR. It states, is the proposal consistent with the preferred land use map as found in the town comprehensive plan? It's checked as yes. Is the proposal consistent with the town goals, objectives, and development strategies as found in the town comprehensive plan? Also checked as yes. Town Plan Commission recommended approval signed by Gary Pearl dated March 4th, 2025. Town Board also recommended approval signed by Jeffrey Opper and Douglas Hines, again, both dated March 4th, 2025.
Thank you. Does the planning and zoning office have a recommendation?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In light of the township's position of being in favor of it, we'll also recommend that the zone map amendment be approved. And also just a note of gratitude to our agent for their patience and diligence.
Just one question for him. Will I hear from one of you on the comprehensive plan?
Yep, once we get done with this, I'll walk you out and we'll go through the next steps.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the committee? Okay, if there aren't any, we'd be in order to have a motion on this zone map amendment. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Moved by Supervisor Ertl, seconded by Supervisor Wangelski to approve the zone map amendment. Roll call vote. Fedorowicz.
Yes.
Hardy.
Yes.
Wangelski.
Yes.
Ertl.
Yes.
Nygaard, yes. Motion carries. Is there a motion to close the hearing? Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you. Moved by Supervisor Hardy, seconded by Supervisor Wangelski to close the hearing. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Guys.
Yeah. So, June 5th.
The shortest meeting.
Yeah, listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need a motion to adjourn?
Well, it's just, is June 5th okay for everybody? Probably.
Yeah.
Normal Thursday.
It's Thursday, right?
Yeah. Okay. Motion to adjourn. We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Yeah.